Carlton. They've done it again. This is now becoming a real trend under David Teague, the Carlton capitulation. It's the 14th time in 21 games under David Teague they've conceded a run of 5 goals or more. That's unacceptable in modern football.
Sorry, say that again.
That's the 14th time in 21 games. So 2 out of every 3 weeks, they concede a run of 5 goals in a game. We know there's been issues with their starts. Sometimes it's been through the middle periods. But Carlton fans are craving for them to win consistently now. They want them to win. They can't start winning until they start believing that they're good enough. And to believe they're good enough, they've got to be able to stop these momentums in a game. Now, whether it's some coaching and to be able to have a plan B, whether it's the on-field leadership, which is a big part of it, being able to recognise, address it, and just simple things like win the next contest, break even, things like that. But this can't continue. This is becoming a real trend. It's costing Carlton wins. They were 20 points up midway or early in that third quarter against West Coast and were playing terrific football. Everyone's sitting there going, how good are Carlton playing? Because they play a really good brand of football. But then they just have these lapses that cost them 5 goals and all of a sudden they're losing a game they should have won.
It's almost Teague's gift to the opposition. It's coming at some stage.
You know it's coming.
Around, keep your system going.
That's harsh, isn't it? That's harsh to say that David Teague is giving you a gift.
It's happened 2 out of every 3 weeks, Tom.
Yeah.
Logic says that something's got to shift, and they would have known this prior to this afternoon.
How old is this Carlton team? Are they a young team?
No.
So there's really no excuse from leadership.
Not from an age point of view, but from an experience. How many of them have played finals? How many of them have been able? How many of them really believe that their team's good enough? Because normally, when you're playing in a team that you know you're really good, you've got belief that your mate next to you is going to do something. Just play his role. Not try and do something above and beyond. But they've got to start believing in their system. They've got to believe in what they're doing, and maybe they go away. Or they must go away from what they've. That holds them in good stead, just for periods, but that's enough to cost you a game in modern footy. It's going to cost them playing finals. I still believe they're one of the better teams outside the 8, but if they continue to do this, they're going to lose games that they're in really strong positions to win. And when's it going to turn around? When are they going to start playing finals?
They have got those experienced guys there. Yeah. I mean, this is the argument, isn't it? At the end of the season, what are you going to do with these players that are not 30 plus, that are 32, 33 plus?
Yeah.
And if they're not being able to influence the team structurally or with the ball movement, the way that they're handling these swings, I mean, it was 14 of 21.
Yeah.
They're alarming numbers.
So let's talk about the personnel then that they've got, Kingy, in this team. Do they need to make a shift?
And Joey, I think you're with me on this. I love what the Blues list build is looking like. I really do. And you know, what they've done over the last 3 to 4 years, they've done some really heavy lifting. It's a complete reset, a complete restart. But I think right now they have an oversupply in terms of 2021, not today. Clearly they were down today with injuries. But in terms of looking forward, is it time to on-sell one of those tools, whether it be a tall forward? Curno's coming back in. He's going to play centre forward for a decade in this team. Harry Mackay's going to be there for the same period. Then you've got these other guys. You've got 2 or 3 others. I really liked DeConning today. I thought he's got some serious tricks. So they've got an oversupply.
Talk about Levi Casbolt.
Oh, talk about Casbolt. I don't know whether you can do anything with McGovern, but even down back, they're very tall.
Yeah, well, they've still got Marchbank to come back into the side. You know, Plowman, Wiedering, Liam Jones.
Isn't that a good position for Carlton to be in?
Absolutely, yeah, it is.
So I'm saying they should look at moving one of them on whilst they're in good order. To get something for that player. Don't just let them rot on your list.
And what do you want for that player?
Well, you've got to get a trade done. So say the Western Bulldogs, who are crying out for another fight. I know they've got Josh Bruce. That doesn't seem to have worked, to be perfectly honest.
No, it hasn't yet.
So, well, yet's a good discussion, but I mean, is it going to work? That's the argument. So do you then look at a Levi Casbolt for a couple of years to give Aaron Norton some support? Or do you say, no, we're okay? But maybe it costs you a second-round pick. I mean, a second-round pick that you can on-trade for something for Carlton at the moment would be very handy. Or
I'd be taking a mid. They're one midfielder short for me. One really good inside mid that can help them out. And there's a few that are sort of fringe players at other clubs. You know, Braden Sire we've seen a little bit of. There are guys at other clubs that you go, if they can come into the side, look at Charlie Constable. Look at what Setterfield's done. I've really liked his progression at Carlton. I agree with Kingy. They've got an abundance of tools. Great. Use one of them to get what they need. And that's just one more mid. Because the reason why I'm frustrated with Carlton, I do really like their list. I think they've got a great list build. I like the way they're playing. They're playing a good style of footy, but if they're having these lapses, it's costing them wins, which is going to cost them playing finals.
Let me ask you both this. How different is this team if they've got Tom Papley in it now and Ollie Wines as well? Because they were linked to Ollie Wines last year and Tom Papley wanted to come to them. They couldn't get the deal done. That still might happen at the end of this year. Does that solve a lot of the problems or not particularly?
Well, that's the art of building a list, isn't it? They did a great job with Jack Martin. Now, I was critical at the time, and they paid heavily in a financial sense, but they got him onto the list as just a basic add-on. you're not going to be able to do that every year. So you're going to have to give something to get something normally. So now's the time. While you've got it's great to have an oversupply and an abundance of one position. So I think now's the time to act.